Hello. I've kind of potted that down quickly. This is Susan O'Connor Fraser here with Think Local First programming streaming live on SantaCruzVoice.com from the Community Television Satellites Digital Media Studio here in Santa Cruz. I am so excited to have Gayle Ortiz with me here in the studio. Gayle, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Gayle, you're the one of the founders of the of your business. That's kind of a Santa Cruz icon there down in, well, it's actually probably Capitola, but Santa Cruz will adopt it. And we are, you guys, you've been in business there. You've been in business since 1978.
Yeah,
so
46 years.
46 years. Our business started in 79, so you're a year ahead of me. Not Santa Cruz Voice, but my day job. So, tell me about your early days, and is it
Yeah, they're good. I got them all situated.
Okay. So tell me, what was it like when you started the business in 78?
It was me and my husband, Joe. Joe helped me start, so we're the original owners. And we were both bakers. I made him bake bread. I was a pastry baker. I baked out of my home for many years, and while I worked at the Crow's Nest as a waitress. And we saved money and were able to open the business. But I didn't want to make bread, and my dad was in the restaurant equipment business in San Jose. And we both looked at Joe and we said, well, you can do anything, Joe. He was, at that point, a law school dropout and had a house painting business. So he said, well, I could probably learn. So I got him a big mixer. I got him the right kind of flour. I got him a great recipe for baguettes. Yeast. I got him everything he needed, and he started baking, and he became addicted to it. So when we opened the bakery together, we had one employee that was my best friend, who also was our roommate, and she was our salesperson. And then we just slowly started. We grew fairly quickly. We broke even in about 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Which was really good. But we had a very low, because we bought all of our equipment from my dad, and we opened the business for $20,000. You cannot do that today.
No.
You can't do that today. But we were very fortunate. So we just had a lot of good luck from the very beginning. We rented a wonderful space. It's our space today. We started out with 800 square feet.
You're a little bigger today.
We're about 10,000 now and growing, because we're like an amoeba. We just keep taking over office space and warehouse space and all kinds of space here and there, because the original space is so small, but we really don't want to move. We love where we are. We feel a huge bond to Capitola and our neighborhood, and so we're there forever, but we always need more space, because we're up to 150 employees now.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. Is it just the people? You say you have warehouse space and office space, but do you do a business outside of it, or is all the business right there in that?
All right there. It's all retail. We do a little tiny bit of wholesale, but not much anymore. We finally stopped wholesale. It was just I didn't want anybody out on the roads anymore in our vans. It just felt too iffy. So we stopped that a few years ago, and glad we did. We just focus on retail, and it's enough of a lion by the tail the way it is.
Now, you started in baking, but you guys are much more than that today.
Right. So 5 years after we opened, let me go back a little bit. The year after we opened, we decided to go to Paris to study a little bit. So every year for 4 years, we would go to France to study baking. And we got to the point where we started wanting to have a broader palette. So we decided on the 5th year to go to Italy. And that's when we started seeing the rosticcerias there, the wood-burning spits with all the pastas and the salads and the things that you could get in those. And we thought, that's what we need as a working couple. We don't want to cook every night, and people need this. And so we came back, and we just decided to go for it, and opened 5 years after we opened the bakery. We opened the rosticceria, and it was a good move. It was a very, very good move.
So, which part of the business gets the most? Is it between the bakery, which, I usually go in for lunch or something like that, and maybe to pick up dinner to take home. And then maybe I sneak over and I actually discovered Brookie's last year, it's like, okay, where have these been all my life?
Those are one of the things that we make that we cycle in and out.
Oh.
So when you go in, you don't always, so you didn't miss them necessarily.
Okay.
It means that they were just not on the menu at that time.
Okay.
There's certain things we have that are always on the menu and other things we do seasonally because we like to do so many different things. We make about 180 different products a day between
Wow.
the bakery and the deli. So it's enough.
So what's the balance between your business on that?
So it's hard to know because most of our customers are like you. They buy both things. They may come in for a cake, but they see a sandwich, or they may come in for a blue plate special, but they want to get that little special eclair or something for dessert. So we have very few customers who come in and only buy in one spot. But as far as our gross is concerned, like the quantity of sales, the deli wins out because the average sale is higher.
Right.
Because we're selling meat and different things that are way higher in food costs, therefore way higher to buy. So the deli does more gross a month than the bakery, but not necessarily items sold.
Now, I have been involved in a few weddings in my life. One of them was I ended up being kind of the day of wedding coordinator, making sure everybody got to where they needed to go.
No stress there.
No, I still don't know how I got roped into that because it was the most exhausting day of my life. But not only did the cake come from you guys, but the whole meal did, and I think at that time you might have been delivering still, and but it was the pasta and the chicken and it just was amazing. So is that something that's a regular part of your repertoire? Is that you're doing catering even if they're having to come in and pick it up?
So before COVID, we did a lot of catering,
Okay.
a lot of wedding cakes and a lot of catering. When COVID hit, we closed for 6 weeks to regroup, and we figured out how we could run the business where our staff was safe and separated from one another and the customers were safe. So we reopened, but when we reopened, we didn't do catering because, of course, nobody was going to parties at that point.
Right.
And or wedding cakes. And as time went on, staffing in Santa Cruz, as you know, has gotten even harder, way harder than it ever was. And so we just have never had the staff to go back to the catering part of it. We're doing casual catering now, which is quite a bit less, and we don't do a lot of delivery. But we aspire to getting back up to those standards that we had before. It just taken a while.
When my daughter got married, there were like only 2 places in town that she would even consider getting a cake from. Gayle's being one of them, and the Buttery being the other one. So, and I don't know if they're still into the wedding cake business, but
I don't know. The original owner, Janet, was and her husband both worked for us, and we knew her for years. But they're no longer the owners. It's been bought by someone I've never met. So.
Interesting. So that must have been some fun competition with people.
Yeah, it was great for many years. Kelly was our first baker employer, and then the fellow that owns Golden Sheaf Wholesale was our second baker, and then Janet came in and worked just as an apprentice for a while, and so we knew everybody. We all knew one another. We could call one another when we needed help or we needed advice, or but it's not quite that way anymore. We don't know so many of them anymore. But it was sweet while it lasted.
Yeah. So you said you have how many employees today?
About 150.
Now, is Joe still involved in the business?
Oh, yes. Joe goes in every morning. He goes in more than I do because I'm a little crowd wary at this point. It's been a lot of years, and I do have a lot of outside things that I do for the bakery and for our community. So he loves to go in. He goes in the morning, and he mooches around, and he picks up stuff off the floor, and he sweeps, and he clears the tables, and he goes around and checks on everybody, and he just loves going in. And so he's really kind of the face of Gayle's. But we have a business owner, a partner who's been our partner for over 30 years now. She started out as a baker, and she worked her way up so much that we finally decided to give her a percentage of the business. And she's really the managing partner, Louisa Beers. She's our guardian angel, our fairy godmother. She runs it like we would, and it is really a huge part of our big success.
So, how your operating model is kind of unique. I mean, I think people, you come in.
It's called an art project.
Well, was that has that been the way that you've always run it? That you have to take a ticket and then get called?
Yes. As soon as it started getting to the point where people were feeling customers were feeling uncomfortable about whether they would be waited on next. When I'm a customer, I don't want to have to worry about whether this person's going to come in and does the salesperson know I was next, or
Right.
So by taking a ticket, you take all that
anxiety
out of it, and then people get a chance to really look at the product and chat with their neighbors and have a more communal experience, and it's made all the difference.
Now, like I said, you mentioned that Brookie's, my new favorite guilty pleasure.
I'd love to hear that.
Is our seasonal. The other thing I learned was seasonal was some of your stuff that you do around the holidays. Yeah. And what we would do, because I would get lazy around Christmas, was come down and get stuffed mushrooms and all these different little popovers and stuff for my Christmas guests, which were family during that time. And I learned that those aren't there year-round either.
No. Well, as I said, we have so many things we make and love. We just can't make them all at once. So we ended up, we have about a 3-month rotation that we go through. We've always got our menu online. Both, you can just look at it online or you can order online now. That was one of the good things that came out of COVID, was we had the time to drop back and really research how we would put our ordering online. So you can order online for tomorrow or in the future. If you want to order for today, you need to give us a call or just come in.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of different businesses discovered, the value of online shopping. And, when we at Think Local First, it used to be, don't click, because so many of the local, businesses weren't necessarily online. We got to go to the store. But now so many businesses have really made, that could be a huge part of their overall revenue stream is what they sell online.
It is. People got used to shopping online during COVID, and they love it. During COVID, people could shop online or call us, and then they would come around. Did you ever come around to the back door during COVID? We had a little pass-through door. And so people who didn't want to come in, they didn't have to come in. And we did a ton of business out of that back door.
I interviewed Tortilla Flats, which is in SoCal, the owners there, and they were talking about how during COVID, they could sell alcohol, which became like the big thing for restaurants, that they could actually sell alcohol to go. Yeah. And so but you had to buy food with it. So people would order one taco and a pitcher of margaritas.
I think that might still be true, because I just talked to somebody who said they ordered some food to go, and the restaurant in Santa Cruz somewhere said, well, would you like to get drinks to go with that? So I think it might still be true. Interesting.
Well, we're actually coming up on our first break here. This is Susan O'Connor Fraser with Think Local First on streaming live here on Santa Cruz Voice. We are going to be back after we pay some bills from our sponsors, so stay tuned, and we'll be back with Gayle Ortiz from Gayle's Bakery, and that word I can't pronounce. So Roasticheria.
I'll teach you.
Okay, thank you. And here we go.
Attention content producers. You can have access to a complete digital media production facility at Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on SoCal Avenue. Easy! Rent video and audio equipment, a studio with a green screen, editing suite, and audio booth, all at can't say no rates. Schedule a tour to see for yourself at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation. satellitecoworking.com.
Time to eat and talk business. Chef Ben here from the Back Nine Grill and Bar, inviting you to talk business over a leisurely lunch or a formal dinner or maybe a quick libation. The Back Nine is the easiest place to get to in Santa Cruz County. Easy off the Pasatiempo exit with ample parking and great food. The Back Nine is the place to meet for business and great food. Time to eat and talk business. See you at the 9.
Hi, folks. How many of you out there love to garden? Wouldn't it be nice to grow some of your own food? Or maybe a flower garden would brighten your day. All you need is the Knox Garden Box, a heavily constructed, portable, elevated garden on legs that can virtually change the way you've gardened in the past. The Knox Garden Box can be set up anywhere. Yes, you can place it right on concrete at knoxgardenbox.com. That's KNOX, gardenbox.com.
Treehouse dispenses not only the finest cannabis products, but information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Hello, I'm Jenna. If you would like to know how best to use cannabis, ask your friends and neighbors at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive. If you're 21 plus with a valid ID, no appointment is necessary and the information is free. Order online at ourtreehouse.io and pick up at our drive-thru. See you soon.
Hello and welcome back to Santa Cruz Voice. This is Susan O'Connor Frazier here in the studio. We have such a great place that we're working here at the Santa Cruz Community Television Digital Media Center here in Santa Cruz. And my guest today is Gayle Ortiz from Gayle's Bakery and Rotisserie.
Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, if you say the word roast.
Roast
of beef, right? Roast, and then the word each.
Each.
And then aria.
Roast each aria. Hopefully I'll remember that after I leave. I called it rotisserie because
that's what it is in French.
Yeah.
That's Italian. Rosticeria is Italian.
Rosticeria.
Rotisserie is French, yeah.
Yeah. So we're learning all about how this iconic, almost historical landmark almost in Capitola came to be and what it's doing today. What I find interesting is it really feels like there's a good mix of both locals and tourists. How do tourists find you? I mean, why do they know you even exist there?
Right. We've been written up a lot. 46 years being in business will spread the word.
Right.
So, years ago it was Sunset Magazine, and food bloggers now will write about us. We get written up in newspapers sometimes, different magazines, airline magazines. When they're covering Capitola, they'll cover us. So I think it's just it's cumulative over the years.
Right. Yeah, because you'll come in and you'll hear all kinds of different languages, and and you can tell that people are either coming from or heading to the village, from that location.
And I think a part of that, when you're talking about people who are speaking different languages and visitors by and large, I think our visitors, and it used to be the Visitor and Convention, what's it called now?
Visit Santa Cruz.
Visit Santa Cruz. They have done such an amazing job over the years of promoting this area that they're the reason I think a lot of us are doing so well, and we've got so many people visiting from all over the world. They have been relentless forever and ever, and it's really paid off.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do is to go to the boardwalk and just sit and listen to the languages that are being spoken as they walk by. And if I hear something that I don't recognize, I don't care. I'll go up and ask them. So what are we talking? What language are you speaking?
Yeah. And the fact that we're right on Highway 1.
Right.
I think people are going up and down the West Coast a lot and stopping in our area.
So you tell me about the bakery, what are some of your favorites or your best-selling things in the bakery?
Yeah. So my favorites are some of the best sellers, I have to say. If I go for something at the bakery and I really want something decadent, and it's not a cookie or, whatever, I'll always have an eclair. That's my go-to, and I'll take it home and I'll cut it in half. And then I'll cut it in quarters, and then I'll cut it in eighths, and then I'll eat all 8 of them, because I think I'm not going to, but I do. Just because it's that flavor for me from my childhood. I just love it. And another favorite is our princess cake. It's layers of vanilla genoise with raspberry jam and custard inside, with a big mound of whipping cream, and then marzipan. Most people recognize it because it's the domed cake,
right,
in the pastel colors with the rose on top. And I always love that. I always love a slice of that. Our orange chiffon cake is amazing, amazing. It's light, real orangey, and I usually will get summer strawberries, slice them up, and macerate them with a little bit of Grand Marnier and a tiny bit of sugar, and then use those with sour cream or cream cheese. Yogurt. We use yogurt, berries, and the orange chiffon cake, and it's the best dessert for summer.
Okay.
The best. Those are my faves.
How about in the roast each area? Yeah, I mean, what's amazing about that particular part of your store is that you've got the grab and go, if you want to like get your blue plate special to take home, or whatever else might be back there, because there's lots of times there's gravies or I'm trying to put myself there. Obviously, all your drinks that you have, but there could be
salads. We have salads. We have soup there at the grab and go. We have hummus, spreads, different dips. Just
deviled eggs sometimes.
Always deviled eggs. Always deviled eggs.
Okay.
We sell. I can't tell you how many deviled eggs we sell a day. They're still a favorite.
I'll have to buy those next time because I make them and then only 2 of us eat them on Christmas. So it's just like
they were a Christmas thing in my family too. It's the only time we had them.
It was deviled eggs and olives on the fingers.
Oh God! I got a case of olives when I was 12 because I loved them so much.
Oh wow!
I was an olive person. I still am. I still love them. But my favorite thing to do with the deviled eggs is to bring them home. Toast a piece of toast in the morning, butter it, and then put 2 halves of a deviled egg on it. Just chop it up right on the toast.
Interesting.
And then I just have a nice little open-faced egg salad sandwich in the morning.
Oh, that sounds like something I could try. And then, so there's the grab and go area, and then there's the hot area, and then there's all of those amazing salads and sandwiches, and it just. I mean, how do you pick what you're going to, offer up there? I mean, how do you choose?
Yeah, that rotates as well. We have some staples, but we rotate quite a few things. We pick by what we like. Number one, we never put anything out that we don't love, and then we decide based on our numbers what the customers love, and things that don't sell we don't make because it's a business. We have to keep everything moving. And when things don't sell well enough, bye-bye.
Now, do you add to your repertoire from time to time?
We add and take away. So that's where the rotation comes in.
Okay.
We always have roast chicken. We always have our penne di alba, the red sauce pasta. We always have spinach gorgonzola pasta, always. We always have mac and cheese. But we might have a real wonderful summery pasta, for a change. Our sandwiches will change. We have a couple of sandwiches that sell. If we took them off the menu, we would, their blood would run in the alleys. People would not be happy. So there's a couple of ficelle or long skinny on baguettes that we always make because they're beloved.
Yeah.
But we change around. A nice big winter sandwich may not be popular in the summer.
That's true.
Something lighter in the summer.
Yeah, I know. I say we're into the salad mode right now at home. So making, getting some rotisserie chicken or roasted chicken and, cutting it up and putting on a, Caesar salad is just a great way to have dinner at night.
I love a chopped salad.
Yeah.
I'm a chopped salad person.
So you say how does it look from winter to summer in terms of your volume? Is it go way up during the tourist season?
It does go up during the summer season. It also goes up during all holidays.
Right.
So that's not necessarily visitor based. That's just people want things for company. People have there's a lot of rental homes in Santa Cruz County. So a lot of people in Capitola especially have homes that they come to in the summer or they come to just on the weekends or holidays. So they're a big part of our business. But yes, it does go up and our staffing fluctuates
accordingly.
Right.
So how many people are in the stores of your 150 employees are actually working in that store?
At any one given, so we have several offices. We have a warehouse. So there's somebody at the warehouse. There's 2 or 3 people in each one of our offices. And then the main bakery, and then we have a pastry bakery and a bread bakery that's right next door to the bakery.
Okay.
It's what we call the old post office, sort of just right almost next door to us. And all of our bakery, like the croissants and the Danish and all the cake, layers of cake, all those muffins, all that, cookies, they're all made and baked over there and brought to the bakery. So is all the bread made over there and brought to the bakery. So in that building, we probably have, at any one given time, 25 people maybe. And then in the main bakery are the rest of, the majority of the people, because we have the deli kitchen there, the cake decorating room there. The deli is huge. We have the places where they do the sandwiches, the places where they make all the blue plates up for you and get everything for the grab and go ready to go. And then we've got the live kitchen where it goes right from the oven onto the steam table. So it's huge. It's huge.
Did you ever imagine back in 1978 that this would be the...
No, people ask me that all the time, and I'm a person who pretty much works in the present. I do.
Good for
we
you.
do planning, but I don't look to anticipate certain things. I just I feel like if you take care of certain things in the present, the future will take care of itself.
That is true. It's like in my business, we'd have to do selling. And one of the things I always say is energy out equals energy in, and so putting out all the positive energy about our business is what brings new business to us. Although most of our business is repeat business, but it's still,
Yeah, but so is ours, right? But it's a different sale point, right? And I also feel like, taking care of your staff, your employees,
very important.
Is a huge part of making your business successful. I'm just going to give you some statistics. I'm going to tell you what the statistics are. This was on our anniversary, our 35th anniversary. And here we go. We're currently operating with 150 people. 10 employees have been with us for 30 or more years.
That's amazing.
11 employees have been with us for 20 or more years. 23 employees have been with us for 15 or more years, and 19 have been with us for 10 or more years. We have 15 marriages that have taken place because they met at the bakery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we've got 12 babies who've been born from those marriages. So, it's, for us, Joe and I don't have kids. And so Gayle's is our family.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I've people that have gone through our shop, and they've gone on to be successful directors in Hollywood or, editors out there. I consider that they were like my baby birds. Right. Left the nest and went on and flew.
It gives you joy to know that people are flourishing.
Yes. Wow. So how many marriages did you say? 10?
I think 15.
15?
Yeah. 15. 15.
Wow, that's great.
Wow.
Would you say that's what you're most proud of? What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of our employees. I can't say enough about our staff. They give their heart and soul to that business, and it is because of them that we are successful. Only because of them. Yes, there's leadership. Louisa's done an incredible. She's a big part of it too, but they're the ones who are there at 2:00 in the morning. They're there at 4:00 in the morning. They're there for 8 hours. If we need them, they're there for 12 hours. They just step up. These people who've worked for. I know these people. They're there for us, and they're the reason we're successful.
So what does that look like? What time does Gayle start? You mentioned
we don't
2.
Stop.
Yeah.
We don't stop.
So in terms of what's going on in the bakery, does that stuff go in the oven? It could be at 4:00 in the morning?
Yes, we start in the afternoon for the day before because we have a lot of sourdough, right? So our breads, some of our preps, like we'll prep the croissants, put them already formed in the walk-in refrigerators, and then they get pulled out early in the morning while the bread's being baked so that they can start rising slowly. So it's this dance that never stops.
That's exactly what I envisioned, is this dance that was happening. And at some point in time, you orchestrated or choreographed that dance,
Well, it was very different when I was baking. When Joe and I were baking, we were doing everything. I mean, I was rolling out the croissants by hand. And
you don't do that anymore.
That stopped when I beat my husband at arm wrestling. I said, all right, I'm buying you. What is the machine you need for those croissants? Because that's not going to happen again. So we got our first sheeter, which is what you call it. And, we made everything. I mean, it was just very a la minute, because we were making 24 of something a day, and now we're making 2,400 of something a day. We have, over 1,500 customers a day, well over that. That's how many ring-ups we have a day, but people often bring in one other person, 4 other people. We have the outdoor patio for seating, so that brings in a lot of people. So it's we keep thinking we're going to get our own zip code one of these days.
So, I mean, since you serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast must start, for what you would call what I would call a hot bar, but you're not.
We call them the steam tables.
Steam tables. What time does breakfast need to start for you?
Well, you mean preparing it?
Yes.
Yeah, those guys come in at around 4.
Ah.
Yeah, they come in around 4, and they start frying the bacon and receiving the biscuits from the bread bakery, so that they can use that for a little biscuit sandwich. Just starting slowly, building it. Everything you get at Gayle's was built by hand. There's really no machinery involved. I mean, yes, we whip up our 160 eggs for our genoise in a machine,
right?
But it's all assembled and made by hand.
You still have that sheeter, though.
Oh yeah, I think we've gone through a number of sheeters at this point. That was a sheeter where I had to pick up the dough and feed it in, and then there's a conveyor belt, and it goes out, and then you pick it up again and you feed it through the sheeter. The rollers, there's 2 huge rollers, but now it just goes back and forth. So there's 2 big, huge conveyor belts on either side of 2 big rollers. And the machine goes backwards and forwards, and every time you go backwards and forwards, it goes down incrementally, so that it ends up being from about 2.5-inch roll of dough all the way down to probably 1/8 of an inch, which is what it needs to be to roll a croissant.
Huh, interesting. Now, did you learn that in France, or did you?
We did see those. Yes, we did see those in France and in Italy. I mean, all bakeries use those. Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on our second break here, so we're going to pay some bills, and then we will be back and have a little bit more, another 15 minutes or so with Gayle from Gayle's Bakery. This is Susan O'Connor Fraser with Think Local First Radio here on Santa Cruz Voice. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
You need a clean, pleasant space to conduct business? You don't want the burden of a long, expensive lease? Your solution is Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue near downtown Santa Cruz. Satellite offers private offices, meeting and conference rooms, even co-working by the hour, day, week, or month. Schedule a tour at satellitecoworking.com and mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
When you need help managing the legal affairs of your family, call on the Angel.
Hello, I am attorney Angel Hess, and I am ready to help. Whether you need a prenuptial agreement or divorce settlement, need child or spousal support, or are facing custody issues or visitation rights, I will help you. I have more than 7 years' experience as a family law attorney.
When you need help, call on the Angel. Attorney Angel L. Hess at santacruzlegal.net.
The Hook is California's first ever cannabis outlet. 100% locally owned and operated, we're here to be your friendly neighborhood hookup. We believe that everyone should have access to fairly priced cannabis, so we work hard to get it to you for 30 to 50% less than the other guys. If you're 21 or older with a valid ID, visit us in Capitola or in Watsonville today. We're here to be your friendly neighborhood hookup. Check out our website, hookoutlet.com, for deals and stay groovy.
You never get a second chance to make a good first impression. When you want to make a good first impression, start with Dynamic Press Angelo.
Dynamic Press can take care of every printing need, from business cards to stationery, apparel, mailings, brochures, everything but money.
When you want to make a good first impression, start with Dynamic Press in Santa Cruz.
479-7920. dynamicpress.com.
Hello and welcome back to Santa Cruz Voice and Think Local First programming. This is Susan O'Connor Frazier here, streaming live on santacruzvoice.com from CTV Satellite's digital media studio here in Santa Cruz. And we are wrapping up our show in the next 15 minutes or so with Gayle Ortiz from Gayle's Bakery and Roast Teacheria. I'll have to learn how to say that faster next time. In Capitola, I can't imagine anybody in my audience that hasn't been there for something, either something sweet or something savory, one of those two things. So, Gayle, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your art before we finish. You guys also have recipe books that you sell.
We do. Those are both out of print at this point. They went through, I don't even know how many, 20 printings, lots of printings, but they were published in the 90s.
Oh.
So they're finally out of print. But you can still find them here and there. Joe started with The Village Baker, which was the bread book. And then after that, Joe, Louisa, and I, Louisa Beers, our business partner, and I worked on The Village Baker's Wife. And so that was all the pastries for the business.
Sounds like a movie for Hallmark or something like that.
Right. Well, yeah.
So, you had mentioned that you guys, we talked about the amount of food, the idea that your guys are kind of prepping all the time, and that you got to start breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning so all us hungry Santa Cruzans can get their fill when we get to Gayle's. But talk to me a little bit about the ingredients because, I think you guys have an amazing amount of ingredients that you go through on a regular basis.
We do. This is a fun list of ingredients. So here you go. We go through this is every month.
Okay.
We go through 3.5 tons of butter.
3.5 tons.
That's like 1,000 pounds or something like that.
A lot of cubes.
It's more like 8,000 pounds, something like that. We go through almost 16,000 pounds of chocolate, 60,000 eggs a month, 21,000 pounds of flour, 6,000 pounds of cheese, 6,300 pounds of chicken, and 1,400 pounds of pasta. So it's, a big part of our business is procuring goods, making sure that we're getting the best price we can, that they are turned over in a timely way so they're fresh, getting them to and from, there's no way we can get that much in the store, right? So we have a big warehouse in Aptos. So everything that's not refrigerated goes to the warehouse in Aptos first. The flour does go just to the bread bakery, straight to the bread bakery, but everything else goes to the warehouse. And then we have big walk-in refrigerators and freezers on the old loading dock of the bread bakery that used to be the post office. So it had this big, huge back loading dock. So we just piled them with refrigeration, and so our cheeses and things, because sometimes you can buy things, more reasonably in bulk. So we will take advantage of that when we can.
How you talked a little bit earlier about the challenges that Santa Cruz County and probably most of the world has experienced with employees, getting great employees. And you're fortunate enough to have these wonderful people that have been there for a long time, which probably saved you through these hiring challenges.
We got a number of PPP loans during that time, and we were lucky enough to be helped by one of our bankers who said, you keep your key employees during this time. That's what the PPP loans are for. You keep them employed even when the doors are closed. And he saved us. And so we were able to, pay their salaries. So we were down to like 80 when we reopened the bakery.
Wow.
And then we slowly worked back up again. But
Is it still a challenge?
It still is a huge challenge. Housing costs here is the main thing. It's just people are moving away constantly, and the folks who are staying are younger folks who can have tons of roommates, and and younger folks are great in spirit, and we love them. And sometimes they're not as dedicated to working hard as older folks are.
Yeah.
So, we've thought about buying apartment buildings and trying to figure out ways to help staff, but so far it just doesn't pencil out. We can't do that. And so I go back and forth about all this new housing that's being built in Santa Cruz, all over Santa Cruz, and it worries me that we don't have the infrastructure for it and that it will change the nature of Santa Cruz. On the flip side of that, it will make it easier for employers to employ people.
I look at I'm involved in the Scotts Valley Chamber and the housing requirements by the state. And, it's like each of the cities has to step up and do so much. Yep. And it's like Scotts Valley still has some space to grow, so that's not such a big thing. But I think at Capitola,
I know, 2 square miles.
Where are you supposed to put all that additional housing?
You can start to see it. There's one on Capitola Road between the Village and 41st Avenue. I can see a big one going in there. Things will have to get torn down, and much denser building will go in. So it won't, it will be on a lot that you wouldn't think would have 120 units, but it will.
Capitola Mall, maybe?
Yeah, the mall, I don't know what the mall's going to do. No, they want to put in something like 600 units. Remember where Takara Japanese restaurant was? It's a standalone. They want to put in 600 units there. I know. Look
in that pad.
You can't see her face, but Susan's face just went, what? And that's what we say, what?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So where I was headed, I think, with the employee question was thinking about, you read off these ingredients, and how is supply chains? Did you have challenges with that during the pandemic, and has that resolved?
It's somewhat resolved. I mean, prices, the inflation is what has not resolved. Well, I think it's leveling out a little bit now, but the inflation has been just as hard as the supply chain problems were. Things never came back. Little things like we're doing our Christmas packaging, and we want to rethink our Christmas packaging this year. And none of the businesses that we used to do business with when I was ordering Christmas packaging are even in business anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, are these bigger conglomerates, or are they small businesses?
They were somewhere in between. They weren't, they serviced a lot of people. They weren't, they were national businesses.
Right.
Definitely. And they just haven't come back. A lot of businesses did not come back.
So when do you're talking Christmas, and as we're experiencing such a heat wave out there, when do you have to think about those things?
Now.
I mean, you have to think
Always.
about Christmas now.
You have to start thinking about packaging now, and then product will come probably the end of August. Are we going to change our product? What are we going to keep? What are we going to have new? We always struggle because Louisa and Joe and I are all traditionalists. We all love antiques. We love things to sort of stay the same. We love old architecture. We love the OG and everything. But customers like to see new things too. And so we're always struggling with how much new, how much old. What are the things people can let go of?
Yeah, I mean, you think I definitely as I think about it, it's like there's a lot of comfort food at Gayle's.
Yes, and especially for the holidays when you can't get it all the time, but you go, oh, Christmas is coming up, and I'm going to be able to get a Bush to Noel, or I'm going to be able to get Gayle's. We do a dried apricot chocolate fruitcake that is unbelievable, and we sell tons of them. And people just wait all year for them.
Interesting, because fruitcake's like
I know, we call it a fruitcake. It's really not a fruitcake. But it's lots of rum, lots of butter, apricots and chocolate, and that's pretty much it. Oh, nuts. I think there's some nuts in it.
It seems like it's the butt of every joke is you're going to get fruitcake for Christmas.
You're going to get the one you gave me last year. I'm just going to pour some more rum over it.
It's now a brick, but it's still good, right?
Slice it thinner and thinner and thinner.
So, you've talked about 3 months being kind of the rotation of food through it. So when is Christmas food or holiday food? Let's say, when does that go into the rotation?
That usually starts just around the first or second week of Thanksgiving week of November.
Okay,
because then we do the whole Thanksgiving thing. So we sort of shift in September. Well, October we start shifting from fresh fruit types of pastries to apple pastries, plum, the things that people think about for winter, not plum so much, but, apple for sure. And then we move from, I would say early fall, which is for us, Halloween is like our national holiday here in Santa Cruz.
I know. I've been on the holiday lights train, and not so much holiday lights, but they could do a Halloween lights train.
Totally do. People love Halloween around here, so we do a huge Halloween thing. Then we do the Thanksgiving thing, and then it just floats right from the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend. We always just put up our Christmas decorations, and we start Christmas right then, because people start having parties and getting together with family.
Do you have an element of people coming down and getting their picnic basket stuff? I mean, not necessarily basket, but picnic stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And people come, Friday, we'll get or Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, we get an onslaught of people who are coming for their rental houses or their own vacation home, and they'll just stock up for the whole week, and you can see them. They've just got we have baskets, and they've just, because they don't want to cook while they're there. So they just get all of our blue plates for the whole weekend. And, I mean, we've got moms who come in the morning. They get their kids breakfast. They get their kids lunch while they're there, their own lunch. And then when they get back, they pick up the kids and come back, and they get dinner. Not too many, but we have some.
Yeah. It's like when we go up to Tahoe, especially if we go up 80, as we stop at Ikeda or whatever that place.
IKEA,
yeah. It's where you get our chicken pot pie and different stuff we're going to take into our rental home. Gayle's is that here.
Exactly. We are.
Yeah. That's so cool. So tell me a little bit. You said you're a working artist now that you're not retired. You and Joe are not retired, obviously, but you spend a little bit more time on your art. Tell me what that looks like.
My art is textile based.
Okay.
So I design lots, but make almost all of my clothes. I also do surface design on textiles. So I do a lot of. I hesitate to say silk screening because it's kind of like a silk screen painting, stenciling. It's a various mechanisms I use to get prints on clothing on yardage.
Right.
And then I make clothes out of them. I also make jewelry. I do a little bit with Pajaro Valley Arts Council. They have a once a year sale that all the people who are members there give their things that are under $200, and it's a big fundraiser for them. So I will give them a whole bunch of jewelry every year. I work with rubber, paper mache. I work with fabric. I'm a devoted maker. I love to make.
So how much time do you spend in your art studios these days?
4 hours a day, maybe 5 hours a day, depending. If it's a weekend, 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm lucky enough to have a studio all to myself, so I'm either in the garage printing fabric, or I'm in my studio making something.
What about Joe? What's his art?
Joe's a painter.
Joe's a painter.
Yeah, he sells his paintings at the bakery. He sells them all over. He writes music. He writes articles. He writes for a local weekly or monthly newspaper. He writes books. He writes musicals. He's produced musicals. He's a musician. He plays the piano every day. Plays the guitar. Oh, I got him a beautiful wooden model ship. So now he's kind of involved in making this big, huge wooden model ship.
Does he have any regrets of dropping out of law school?
No, he dropped out twice. That's how few regrets he's got about it. The second time he went, oh yeah, now I remember why I hated it.
I had thoughts of being a lawyer and went through one class of business law and said, this is not me.
So awful. No, he hated it both times.
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't him. He's a creative soul, and we both are, we consider ourselves makers. Not so much artists, but makers.
So you're also, besides being a Think Local First member, you're also part of other organizations in the community, and you were telling me about the successful Wharf project and the Capitola Library. I mean, where do you find time to do all these things?
Well, I get a good idea, and then I just run with it. And before I know it, I'm leading the team, and I'm thinking, what did I do this for again? But Capitola is so small, you can really wrap your arms around it and feel like you've made a difference, and that's what I love about it. So you can raise $500,000 for a new library and really go into that library. Joe's now going to the library every week, and he never went to the library before this. So I see, wow, people love that. And so then we decided the Wharf needed some really fun things. When it fell down, the city was going to replace it, but they didn't have any plans for doing anything on top. Like, we've got viewing telescopes, we did new lights, we got some artwork, some interpretive, all kinds of things for the new Wharf, which will be installed and done for a grand opening on September 25th. So I just think of things that Capitola needs and go for it. I'm ready for a break, though. For a little break.
I know that I've been involved in capital funding campaigns for the Santa Cruz SPCA and the Dientes Santa Cruz Family Health, Capitola Road project that they did, and it just gives you such a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction
To
that
see it built,
yes,
see it materialize the way that you hoped it would.
Yes, it's definitely, I mean, I feel that, you talk about Capitola being a place you can put your arms around. I kind of feel that way about our whole county, and it takes a little bit of reach to get around Watsonville and to pull them in. But, it's Santa Cruz County is kind of a manageable, place, where, go over the hill, what I call the dark side, San Jose, but it's just too much, go to the big city to go to San Jose and all the traffic over there. Well, we're coming to the end of the show.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. And so this has been a great hour. GaylesBakery.com is where you can find their menus, order online, get gift cards. What a great gift card.
We do a lot of gift card business every day.
Yeah, I bet.
Gift card business.
I hadn't even thought about that being one of the gift cards I could give for Christmas.
Yeah, make it very easy.
I make a show, kind of it's part of my Christmas thing is to think about people, and if I can't find something in the store, buy them a local gift card is a great way to.
I love receiving them.
Yes, and great way to support local businesses, and also give someone a part of something you love.
Yeah, true.
So thank you so much for joining us, Gayle.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Okay, and we're coming up on the end of the hour. Community Matters is chomping at the bit to get in. So stay tuned. They have Matt Weinstein from Cabrillo College and Gayle Pellerin as their guest today. Thanks for listening to Santa Cruz Voice and Think Local First. We will be back next week, the same time, 12 to 1 o'clock. Thank you again.